Okay. Yeah, feel free to go ahead and get started, Mary. Can go from there.
All right. I don't really think I have to tell any of this group about what the snack program is. And you probably know that next week is Beth Ridley. She'll be talking about getting out of your comfort zone and doing uncomfortable things. So Kris Hinrichs has always been interested in preserving memories, documenting races, travels and events, and capturing interesting scenes by taking photos. She began taking and posting photos on Facebook of things throughout her neighborhood that caught her eye. And then in 2011, Kris read about Project 365, which is a challenge to take and post a picture every day for a year. She shared the idea on Facebook, and a bunch of people, including me, joined the challenge to share our daily photos. We formed a Milwaukee 365 Milwaukee group, held group outings, made new friends, established a monthly theme day, and even held a photo sale event to benefit Girls on the Run, all thanks to Kris. A lot of us stuck it out for years, but eventually everyone but Kris and one other person continued taking and posting a photo every day. Kris is now on her 10th year, I believe, and she has never missed a single day. Kris became even more dedicated to photography after she retired at the end of 2012. She learned and read, and most of all, practiced. When you look at her photos, you may not realize the amount of work that went into not only capturing the shot, but the time and skill that goes into creating an artistic photograph. So making a 2D object portray the authentic appearance, mood, and character of the original 3D scene. It's been cool to watch Kris refine her artistry, turn it into a little business, be featured at exhibitions, win some competitions, and most of all, merely go from merely taking photos to making photos. Kris?
Okay, well, let's see. I'll share my screen. If I can find my PowerPoint, there we go. Does that work?
Yep.
Okay, well, I started on July 2nd of 2011. God knows why I started on July 2nd instead of July 1st, who knows? But I thought, well, why not? What's the worst that can happen? I can quit. But I haven't yet. I did almost quit like around the 6th or 7th year, but decided to, once you quit, you're kind of screwed. But since that day, I have posted, I just tallied it this morning, 5,130 images on Facebook as part of this project. I posted other images too. I post them on my personal Facebook page. I post them on a Kris Hinrichs photography Facebook page. And I tell people, if you want my politics and my photos, go to the personal page. If you just want pretty pictures, go to the other one. I also post on Instagram at Christine Marie, and but I have about 30,000 photos in my archive, which is a lot. One thing I pay a lot of attention to, and it's really thanks to Mary because she's such a great writer and editor, is she always took really a lot of care with her captions. And so I really try to do that. And sometimes actually the caption comes before the photo. I'll see something and I'll think of a caption, and then I have to make sure that I can get a photo that's an image that's worthy of the caption. One of my favorites, early one, was I took some like wilted hostas, and the caption was "Hasta la vista, baby." But sometimes other people don't get my captions either. But in some ways, my years of running marathons have really helped with this, because, you know, if you're going to run marathons for a long time, you just have to get up every day and do it. And the earlier, the better. And so I do generally get up early And I started doing that to get the sunrises, but really now my favorite thing is those pre-dawn hours where I'm just driving around town on the dark streets. You know, who knew that it's a thing for barber shops on the south side to be open for business at 6 in the morning and have customers in the barber chair, that kind of stuff. So that's really the kind of thing that I like. I started with an iPhone and a little teeny point and shoot camera. And I have graduated to a serious camera or 2 or 3. But it's really been, I feel like it's a big accomplishment that I really know my camera. I took a shot, if you go on my Facebook page or my Instagram, the shot I took last night, honestly, I had 30 seconds from when I saw a bus at the stoplight behind me to get my tripod set up, the shot focused and set up and ready to go. And it was like, oh, that worked. It was kind of fun. As Mary said, I've had some success with sales. You know, one of the things that I did was, you might have been to City Lights Brewery. They actually hired me when they were building out that project to go there once a week. I went every Sunday for 30 weeks and I documented their build out, and they used that for their investors primarily, but other people. They wanted to really generate some buzz and to show people who'd invested in the project kind of what was going on. One of the things that I hardly make any money selling photos. It's not a huge deal. Although I have some photos in some offices and that kind of thing. But one of the things that really is a lot of satisfaction is to find a photo or to know my photo has some impact. At Christmas time, a woman who I know kind of, she's not like a close friend, she contacted me and she wanted to buy 3 photos, one of sunflowers, one of Allen Bradley, and one of the Milwaukee skyline. So I matted them and got them to her. And she said, well, her late husband, sunflowers were his favorite flower. He worked at Allen Bradley and her father worked at Foley in the US Bank building. And so she bought those photos so that she would have them for those memories. So anyway, sometimes my photos are right place, right time, and some I'm really glad that I haven't been arrested, particularly by the railroad or the transit police, because I'll be in the same place every day for a week. So why don't I just go through some of my favorites? I'll start with a couple of all-time favorites. And one of the things that I do every year, I do a book that's basically like a scrapbook of all the photos that I posted for that year. And one of the other things that I'm working on is a book that has a working title of Every Picture Tells a Story. And it's really my favorite photos and the story behind them, because sometimes that's more interesting than the shot. So anyway, we'll start with this one. Hey lady, take our picture. I was walking on the 6th Street Bridge, going to take some sunset photos. I had 2 cameras with me. One had a fisheye lens, and these young men came across the bridge and they said, are you with Channel 6? And I said, no, I had a tripod, they must have thought. I said, no, and they said, well, will you take our picture? Notice the one kid giving me the double bird too, that was fun. And so I shot this one with a kind of a fisheye lens, which I think gives it kind of a David Lentz kind of effect. Took the picture, kind of just was going on, and they said, well, can't we see it? They almost knocked me over looking at the back of the camera. And then they went on their way. I never knew who they were, but this has been successful in a couple of exhibitions. And I just love it because a lot of people, when they see a bunch of kids like that, they have a lot of different reactions, which aren't, yeah, I'll take your picture. This one is under the Hoan Bridge. I was down there early one morning because a friend from Waukesha was scared to go down there. So I was going to go down there with her a couple days later. And so I was checking it out. And I happened to see this old Victorian sofa under the bridge. I have no idea what the story is behind the sofa. I will tell you, it was gone the next day. And somebody thought maybe somebody put it down there for an engagement shot or a wedding shot or something. But this one actually at the Museum of Wisconsin Art Members Exhibition in 2019. Yeah, I get my years mixed up with the pandemic. Anyway, this one, Best Urban and Landscape for all media, including painting and everything. And it's just, you know, and it was like, if I had said, oh, I'll come back tomorrow, it would have been, never would have gotten it. This one is taken at the Horicon Marsh. And
excuse me, Kris. Kris, this is Mary. Alex just put in the chat that he can't see your screen.
Yeah, I can see it fine.
I can see it fine too, but
I can see it fine.
maybe you should see if you can get back to Alex.
do you want me to stop sharing and start again?
I think Alex is the only one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the phone, so maybe it just doesn't share on the phone.
Okay. I don't
Just
know
go
what to
ahead.
do. Okay. Anyway, this one, we were driving around the Horicon Marsh and I thought I was taking there were a bunch of sandhills and they all flew up and I had my camera and I'm looking and I went, excuse my language, holy crap, whooping cranes. As soon as you see the black tips on the wings, these whooping cranes flew away, came around, went a little bit farther north, and I was able to get them in the field with a bunch of sandhill cranes. There are only 500 whooping cranes in North America. They are that endangered, and to see 3 of them that are all a family, actually, and I found the story of the dad and the 2 kids, but that was a pretty amazing experience. This is down at the lakefront last summer. You know, lots of people take pictures of the love statue. I've been down there, I mean, sculpture at sunrise, but I thought it was.
Kris is frozen.
Kris, can you hear us?
Time most favorited photo. This is on the Hoan Bridge, Light the Hoan website. It was in Milwaukee Magazine and they actually paid for its use. But as it happened one morning, they had been testing it on and off for a couple of weeks, and I was driving with a friend down to the Pierhead Lighthouse right here, and I was on, you know, Erie and Broadway, and I looked up and I saw the bridge lit, and I went, "Holy cow!" You know, I got there and I looked at the photos yesterday. Between the first shot I took and this shot, which is the last shot I took, was 3 minutes. And the rainbow part of the light was up for a minute. But it was, you know, so that was a case where I got lucky, but it was also good that I knew how to use my camera and, you know, sort of just, I didn't have to think about what to do. I just,
you know, what I see in that picture is a large fish opening its mouth, swimming towards me.
I don't think anybody has said that, Steve. But it was so lucky that it was such a calm morning too. But and I had no idea that this would be a popular photo. I loved it. I put it on Instagram and, you know, Reddit, and it went lots of places that I don't even know. And I've sold several prints and several commercial uses of it. This looks like a very simple photo, but it probably was about 10 years in the making. This is the bridge that goes from Lakeshore State Park, you know, from the Discovery World to Lakeshore State Park. And I've always wanted to get the sun, the sunrise, and the bridge railings all in alignment. So I did last year. I was happy with that. This one is obvious. I just love going down to the lake when it's things are wild. This was probably last fall. I don't even know what. And this was, don't ever let anybody tell you you can't take astrophotography in the city. This is the NEOWISE Comet. And I got it all the time it was visible. I got 3 great shots. One here, which is on Government Pier down at the lakefront, one up by Discovery World, and one at Horicon Marsh.
Those are gorgeous, Kris.
It was really an amazing moment. I mean, morning to, again, to get it and to figure out how to get it.
Wow.
Yes. Down at Bradford Beach one morning at sunrise, out of the corner of my eye, I thought, what the heck? I turned with my camera, and this woman was proposing marriage to her partner. And so I caught the shot, and I also caught some shots of them both like jumping up and down because she said yes. And the caption is, she asked, she said yes. And in that case, I always carry some business cards with my email. And so I gave him a business card. I said, if you want if you want copies of these photos, I'll just email them to you. And they were really happy to have had somebody do that for them and to be there at the right place. But it was really cool to see 2 people so happy. And anyway. And this is the Colby Abbott fire.
Mm-hmm.
Going out one Saturday morning, I was heading to the lakefront to the sunrise, and I smelled smoke right about the Milwaukee River. And I went, what? And as I drove up Wisconsin Avenue, I saw over on Mason Street, and I was really lucky because I got there before the police did. And so I got a lot of really cool shots before they'd established the police line.
Kris, I used to have an office right below the stream of water.
Really? Yeah, and I did give Patty and Chuck Kahn permission to use these for their own personal use, because I know that I think with Chuck's family, there's a big family connection to the history of the building. But it was cool. Again, it was cool to be able to get it. And I think 10 years of doing this, it's like, what is it, Malcolm Gladwell says, 10,000 times. After a while, you kind of have an idea what doesn't always work. But
look at that sky. The sky is fabulous.
Yeah,
it's
isn't it?
Just the color. It's spectacular for that time of day to get the yellow, the red, the pink, the cobalt blue. It's fabulous.
Thank you. And for anybody who knows anything about photography, these were at ISO 3200. Which doesn't usually generate a very good shot, but it was so dark, but it was cool. Thank you. Let's see, what's the next one? Oh, this one. I have a series going called Night Trains. And the problem with night trains is the only ones that are coming are the Amtrak, which is the one on the right. The one on the left is down in the Muskego Yards, down off of, by the tannery, that area on the south side. But I never knew that when those trains come through there, there's actually, the switches are operated manually by the person in the train. So he gets out and does that. So the one on the left was a ready, fire, aim. And I've tried other shots with the same settings and can't get it. This one, I was standing up by the Milwaukee County Transit thing on the KK River Trail. I bet I was there for 6 mornings in a row. I was afraid the railroad police were going to get me. But But I really enjoy that kind of, you know, again, the nighttime, and you don't see the skyline from there very, very often.
Are you there alone?
Yes, I'm always alone. And, you know, and how do I say this? I am very, well, I know that no one is invincible, but I am generally alone, and but I always know what my escape route is. You know, I have my key. I know, you know what I mean? But
You can
but
probably
in
outrun anybody, right?
what?
Probably outrun anybody.
You know, if you think about it, there aren't that many weirdos out at 5 o'clock in the morning. The weirdos are generally out at midnight.
Did you ever have any close calls where you were concerned about your safety?
No. I've been panhandled a couple times on 3rd in Wisconsin, but you know, you're panhandled there no matter what time of day. But I've had times when I've just decided not, like before the light the Hoan at the boat launch, you know, down on South Water Street. There have been times when I've been going there and I've seen just one car there, and I've just kept on going because I wasn't really, now it's like a real popular place, so it's kind of different. Now this one, it is not what you think it is when you look at it. What it really is it's not the mural on the building next door. What you see in the glass is the reflection of the building across the street that lines up perfectly with the mural.
It's a majestic building.
Is it the Majestic?
Yeah, the white one that's being reflected.
Yeah, the white one is the Majestic building.
It's
But
the,
yeah,
it's the 15-story building in the skywalk.
yeah. But I don't even know how I saw it.
But it's very cool the way that the two buildings are lining up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and actually, I went back at a time of day where right here, it's not that, I didn't Photoshop that to darken it. That's the way it was. But I'll go back there once the construction is finished and get a decent shot of it. But it was kind of fun. Okay, and this is the Neptune's Gate at Villa Terrace. This is actually a composite, so that this one is in focus and all the rest isn't. But that one, a woman on Instagram who I don't even know emailed me and said, "I love it, I want it. How can I buy it?" And it made it awesome that she could buy it, which made me happy. Let's see. This is full moon at the art museum. Couple of months, I don't remember the corn moon, but it was in the fall. They actually had a special thing where they opened the wings so that people could come and take pictures of it for the full moon. And this was featured, one of 3 images that they featured in their newsletter about that night. And this is also the art museum. I have a thing about reflections, and I have a whole series going. It's called Outside Looking In, Looking Out, where you get, this is inside the art museum, and this is the sunrise reflected on the window. And I don't know how I saw it. It would, all those things were in different places the next day. And this, of course, is the white lighthouse. And this is not the moon, it's the sun.
Huh.
With the haze of the forest fires last year. And we had a whole bunch of hazy sunrises. And, oh, this is a favorite. Anybody know of, there's between South 2nd Street and South First Street. You go under the railroad tracks. It's like a little tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked under there one day, and if I see something that's weird, I take a picture of it. And so I got home and I looked and went, what's that a recipe for? And it's
Key
a
lime
recipe,
pie.
and I made the recipe. And it's good. It was good. So, and this is the final one. This is Mary Bolich, and and this is in actually there's a Milwaukee Area Artist Resource Network members show, and this is in the show right now, and I call it Friendship in the Time of COVID. Me taking a photo of you taking a photo of me. We did a walk by one morning, and I said, yeah, we're going to walk by your house and we'll wave at you. And so we did. And as we were waving, she's taking a picture. And so I took a picture, and that's where we are. So that is the end of my photos.
Beautiful.
But I have a couple of other just remark kind of things. And I guess they were and Mary was kind of asking me about this before, but advice to others, not that you would start a project like this, but I have actually recommended to a lot of friends with small children or grandchildren that they do that they take a photo of their children once a week or once a month. And you don't even have to do anything with it. But in 10 years, you're going to love to see that whole compendium of those kids growing up. But my first piece of
Let's not here, but you around then?
Yeah, I'm here for a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Yep.
my first piece of advice is download your photos from your iPhone, because it is.
Chris, sorry about that, Chris.
So did any of this come up? Did what I said about taking pictures of your kids?
Yes, we got it. Yep.
Okay. Anyway, download your photos from your iPhone, because sooner or later they will be gone, and you will be unhappy. And they're just figure, find something that works for you, because really people are running around with photos on their phone that they love, and they're going to be gone someday because something happens to your phone or something happens to something. Print your photos. Nothing is better than something you can look at, but please don't print them at Walgreens. They're the worst place. There are lots of great online places, including Costco, actually. And, I see so many people going down to take photos of sunrise, and they're standing there, and as soon as the sun comes up, they're taking pictures of this big white blob that when they get home from their vacation, they're going to look at it and they're going to have a big white blob on the beach. So the best time is just before the sun comes up or just after the sun goes down. You'll get a lot better pictures. And please pay attention to what's in the background when you're taking pictures of your kids. Because, moving them a little bit here or there, as we're finding with our Instagram shots, can really make the difference between having a great shot that you're going to love and having something that you're going to wish you'd done differently. So that's all I have to say. Any questions?
Chris, besides your KristineHinrichsPhotography.com, is that the only one I need to get onto to get access to these other sites that you mentioned?
Well, you can, on Instagram, I'm at Christine Marie. And, but on KristineHinrichsPhotography.com, it says all the other things.
Okay, thank you.
And also, I have my photos for sale on a couple different sites and for sale directly. And actually during COVID, it's almost easier for people to buy stuff from me directly if it's just a print, because shipping has been kind of an issue. And now I just have people stop at my house and pick it up. But yeah.
I have one set of photos talking about taking a series. I took a walk with my black lab when I first moved into this neighborhood out here in Brookfield. One morning, I just was in the mood and clicked a bunch of pictures with her and the neighborhood. And those are basically the only pictures I have of her. I didn't realize it. So every time I look back at those, it's really a good feeling.
Yeah.
She's gone now, you know. So.
Yeah, it's really, you know, I have a friend, I realized at one point she had 2 cats and her one cat passed away. And I realized a couple of years later that I actually had a photo of her cat. And so I, you know, printed it for her. And it's nice because I have everything keyworded. So if I, you know, I had somebody last week who wanted a photo of his husband running that he remembered that I'd taken like 3 years ago. And I just went into my system and went runner, winter, up it came. So if you're looking for a photo of something somewhere in Milwaukee, chances are pretty good that I have a bunch.
Good to know.
Kris, you were talking about taking pictures of kids, and somebody commented to me one day that their parents took so many pictures of the kids in the family, and they didn't have very many pictures at all of the parents.
Oh yeah.
So you might have to have the kids turn the camera around once in a while.
Yeah, that's true. That's the good thing with the, especially the phone cameras. You can just set it up on a bench or on a picnic table and take some good shots.
So, you know, for like a bird photographer, there's always this like list of the elusive bird that they want to put onto their list. Do you have shots that you're looking for that you haven't had yet?
I don't know. That's a good question. No, and part of it is, I mean, I always have shots in mind, you know, but usually they're shorter term. Like the one I took yesterday was of the Riverside Theater with the marquee with the you know, be the light quote. And so I've been thinking about that since I saw the thing. So I just had to get back there at the right time and do it right. But part of it is, you know, the rest of my career was so organized and so planned that one of the things with this is, you know, I just go out, it's like a treasure hunt.
So much fun.
But, you know, when we were out in I didn't put it in here, obviously, but when we were in Death Valley, you know, everybody goes to the Mesquite sand dunes. As it happened, we're walking out on the Mesquite sand dunes just before sunset, and a beautiful blonde woman in a white gauzy dress walks across the ridge of the sand dune carrying a guitar and sits down and plays the guitar. You know, and it was just like, I got that shot.
Yeah. Are you ever attempted to do video?
No. And drone photography doesn't really interest me either. But what I really like, you know, I really like showing the city, you know, and different parts of the city. I bet I have skyline shots from more odd places than anybody. And one of the buildings that I've really come to appreciate actually is the Northwestern Mutual Tower, that at this time of the year in particular, it's like a moving mosaic at sunrise, because the building kind of turns orange in little pieces because of the way the windows are. And it's just really beautiful from South Shore or someplace like that. Or from the you know, down by the pier head by Summerfest. It's just beautiful.
One of the cool things about Kris's business is that you can find just about any kind of tailored photograph as a gift for somebody, if they like sailing or if it's for a wedding. You know, the things that she's captured throughout the city really can make really specialized gifts. And she also has the greeting cards, which I love.
They are great.
It was fun this year. Actually, Beth Wyrick used an image that I took of Wisconsin Avenue, kind of in the rain and with the Christmas chandeliers. And she used those for her personal Christmas card. So I produced, I think, 75 cards for her one day. And
That's a great idea.
yeah. And I did a fun project right about a month into the COVID where I actually sent personal greeting cards to, I think, 96 people. And anybody whose address I had, old boyfriends, ex-husbands, the whole shebang. But each card was one of my greeting cards. And I tried to, you know, tailor the card to the person. So that was kind of fun.
Kris, are you Nike or are you Nikon or Canon?
I'm Olympus, mirrorless.
Oh, Olympus.
Yep.
I was reading that iPhone Pros are almost as good as professional cameras these days.
I don't know. You know, I bought probably 5 or 6 iPhones because I thought it would have a really great camera and then I could use my iPhone, and I still don't. You know, Olympus has some really great features that Canon and Nikon still don't have. And so it really doing, you know, long exposure or car trails or astrophotography or, you know, stuff like that. It really works well.
Mary's showing one.
Oh, there's Mary. Mary's showing. Mary, you have to talk.
That's my picture of Kris taking a picture of me in the photograph that she showed you guys.
I love it.
Can you talk about what kind of storage you have and how you organize it and how you find your photos?
Sure. I use Lightroom and Photoshop have a monthly subscription plan. It's like $10 a month. And I use Lightroom mostly for my editing and for my management of my photos. And I keyword them all. And so, you know, honestly, I've had somebody's, you know, I think, oh yeah, I took that photo of Bradley Tech at night, you know, and it's black and white. Well, I just, South Side, school, night, thumbs up. I can, and that's really how I organize in Lightroom. And I can, like I said, I can pretty much find anything I want. I have several USB hard drives, and I use Backblaze as my real-time backup. And knock on wood, I've never had a crash, but I figure the reason I've never had a crash is because I'm prepared to have a crash. But it's, you know, it like part of it, a lot of it is just really fun because to be able to you know, do something that really appeals to somebody, or, you know, I had some woman who's a decorator for like office buildings or something out of Minneapolis. And she said, yeah, I saw this photo and it was like an iPhone photo. And I had to figure out how to size it so that they could print it 30 by 40 inches, an iPhone 6 Plus shot. And it was fine. But I learned something in it to do it. I don't know where the office is, where she used it, but that's kind of the way that goes. Okay, well, I don't have anything else to say. Thank you.
That was awesome.
This was cool.
Thank you, Kris. It was very, very fun. I'm going to send a link to your Instagram page to all of my out-of-town family. I mean, I should have done that a long time ago. And I have to say, I'm somebody who didn't appreciate photography as art till like maybe the last 10 or 15 years. It just didn't strike me as art in the same way. And everything that you do is just so beautiful and just really brings that artistic expression into what we can see. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you. It's fun. I've never had an artistic bone in my body, so it's fun to have found some kind of a creative outlet.
Great. Thanks so much. I apologize for getting in really late. I'm going to go back and watch the beginning of the show because I do consider myself captain of the Kris Hinrichs Photography Fan Club. Thanks, Kris. Keep them coming.
Okay, thank you.
Chris.
Okay,